everyone, welcome to Friday Night on the Homestead. Tonight's topic is, well, it's about wildfires, but it's not what this was because I wound up using this slideshow from 2 years ago because it covers the same stuff and a lot of the same things. So yeah, it's going to be about wildfires, and for a lot of the homesteaders in here, it will be about, saving the animals, saving the buildings and everything else. But for those of you that are in suburbia, it still applies to you. And I was trying to get hold of Steve at Corsair Trainers to see if he's available tonight. And the one email I had for him stopped working for some reason. Yeah, but it went through on his other one. So we will see what's going to happen here if Steve shows up, because he's actually dealt with this down in Southern California with the wildfires down there and having to evacuate. All right, but before we get on with that, let's jump on back up here to comments. And I froze. And before I jump up the comments, let me get in here and throw up the channel members that are here. And let's get the comments here. All right, so first one in was Duncan 1900 Homestead, followed by Creative Redundancy. That's our favorite guy, CR, north of the border there in Canada. Then Tammy at Rebel Canners came in. And let's see, they're talking back and forth. Idaho Garden Girl came in. Hey, Steph. Suzanne Goulet came in. Make sure Kaylin Strain is here. Green Granitude, Denise is here. Stacy G, how's it going? Yes, it's been a while. It's actually been 9 weeks since I did a Friday night on the Homestead. Tibor's in the house. See, make sure I don't miss anybody. I scroll down here. Okay, I'm caught up. Those are the ones that are making comments, and I think by the numbers here, we got a few others that are lurking. That's fine. Lurk away. But I hope you gained something, some information from tonight. And I'm going to talk about several different aspects of dealing with wildfires. And so I hope we'll do that. And we got, all right, I'm going to butcher this. It looks like Illinois, because it's got the state of Illinois there. Niram, I think the K is silent. I'm not sure. Usually when it's a KN, the K is silent. So Niram. All righty. Okay. All righty. So let's get over and look at the some of the pictures here. Like I said, I'm using the same slideshow from 2 years ago because a lot of the pictures are still relevant. So pop over here. Actually, let me try the other one here. Put myself down in the bottom corner down here. There we go. All righty. So, Tibor, you like the hat, huh? This is I got this at the Scout Shop, and for several years this is what they were selling for Scoutmasters to wear. All righty. So let's get on here, and yep, share this out. The wildfires are big already this year, so share it out, get this information out to people, and hopefully they'll learn something from tonight, and they'll be able to be a little bit better protected. Oh, the K is not silent. Okay. Like I said, I said at the beginning, I was going to butcher it, didn't I? All righty, so we're talking about livestock. The grass in a lot of areas of the country, we had such great winter and spring rain, and the grass just grew and grew and grew, and it's just unbelievable. So what's going on? In fact, on the news link I got 3 days ago from the Martinez Patch in California, said it was reporting about the California's current largest wildfire, 90,000 acres and growing. And farmers have whatever type of livestock they have. When a wildfire moves in on them, sometimes they don't give much warning because basically wind's blowing one way. Next thing you know, 10 minutes later, it's changed direction and now it's coming straight at them. So, and it can surprise a lot of livestock out there. And like I said, sometimes you just don't get much warning or time to get them moved, and you got to use any means you can, food to bribe the animals to get them going. And yes, the California Highway Patrol gets out there and they move pets as well. Now, there's a lot of animals that need to be moved. So we're just going to blow through this so you can see what's going on. And something like with certain livestock, they have to put the blinders on them. So if they can't see, they're not just going to run off blindly. They'll stay there and it won't be jumping around and trying to get away. Okay, Brenda says, yeah, we finally got rain. Rain. We got spittles for the last several days. It actually rained during the night a little bit. So, but yeah. And yeah, and there are a lot of things. Now, when I was back in California, I was working with the Contra Costa County Animal Services for the CERT program, the Community Emergency Response Teams. We set up a program for animal rescues during wildfires and stuff like that, and other disaster events. And it was the blueprint for what went national. And so now there are a lot of animal emergency working groups around the country. Yeah. And if you have animals and stuff, pets, you may want to check with these ahead of time if you're in an area that might catch fire. Okay, what does Thor say here? Thor Haven's in the house, and we dealt with a forest fire just a mile behind our homestead last year. Scary. Yeah. And Aiden Deer is here from across the pond. Welcome, Aiden Deer. And let's see here. And in the animal rescue class, they talk about they do the general first aid stuff for people as well as animals, because sometimes you're helping an animal and you get bit, or if it's a big animal, you can wind up with a broken arm or a broken leg. But these volunteers do a lot to help animals out. They set up temporary housing for all sorts of different livestock. Usually they go into the county fairs if they're not in use and set up there. They've also have the cages and stuff they can set up other places as well. And you can see this is definitely not your normal place for have a lot of chickens. They also do pets and stuff as well, especially people that are being evacuated. And the Red Cross will not allow you to bring your pets into the Red Cross shelter. The CERT programs working with the animal services will set up shelters next to the Red Cross for animals. So the time now is the time to up and start working on stuff. Of all natural disasters, wildfires is one that having a bug out plan is an important part of your plan, because you need to figure out if you do have animals, pets, whatever, how are you going to get them out? Where are you going to take them? Where you're planning to go, does it have the ability for you to keep your animals close to you? Hey, Shawnee, how's it going? So basically you need, tonight's thing is basically, think about planning, plan now. Here's Thorhaven. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Well, I was babysitting the grandkids until 6:30. And I realized, crap, I forgot to set this up. And actually, when I got back over here, I had a different topic in mind, but I got a couple more pings on the email on news things about the wildfires. And it's like, okay, crap that. Wildfire season has started now already early, and we need to get information out there. So I'll probably tag on this in about 2 or 3 weeks on Gray Man prepping as well, a little bit differently on it. But yeah, this is an important topic for everybody.
Yeah, and depending on where you are in North America or around the world, it can start at any time.
Oh yeah.
So,
Whose live stream was it this morning? I was on somebody's live stream this morning, and the topic came up. I think it was David Lynn Prepper Principal, I believe. The thing came up, or maybe it was yesterday, about what's going on in Korea, South Korea. The the World Jamboree is going on right now. They got 40,000 scouts and leaders there. And the heat is so bad that the United Kingdom pulled their 4,000 scouts and leaders out, back into Seoul, put them up in hotels to take the load off of what's going on there, because it's just so hot. They don't have a fire yet. But that would be anti-froze. That would be disastrous to have a fire at a jamboree.
it's crazy. When I was in the forces, just in the reserves, I was out on exercise the one time at one of our bases, and because they were using the flashbangs and just the what's the name? It replicates the artillery. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
But again, it set the grass on fire. So
yeah,
all of us were suddenly, whatever exercise you're doing, it's no duff, no duff. We're now fighting grass fires instead of, doing what we were there to do. But yeah, we dealt with one last year, and it's so scary to deal with. Like, I could not imagine any homestead or anyone with animals that has to actually evacuate their animals. We are lucky here in Quebec, where we have an amazing fleet of fire bombers, water bombers that, when the fire started about a mile from us in the forest behind, and it started blowing our way, we suddenly, within, I want to say 20 minutes, had 3 of the water bombers on station circling and putting that fire out. So for us, we were extremely lucky in that regard, and we're very happy that, to be able to, that's one thing. I'm like, I hate taxes, but if my taxes are going towards these water bombers, all good.
Yeah, that's one of those things. That's not a special pet project of a politician. That's for the community's safety.
Yes, exactly. And these guys were amazing. They put it out very quickly. So, we were at the time, we were thinking, like, do we let our Highland cows out of the field just to run away? What do we do with our chickens? What do we do with our bees? It's one of those. So right after that happened, we went to work clearing our forest, and we took it back about 70 feet from our house. Not from our house, but I'd say we were back about 40 feet from our house where the forest started, and then we took it back another 70 feet now. And we're continuing to clear out the dead wood and other stuff like that, where, anything that might start a fire in our backwoods, we're trying to get rid of. We are leaving some dead stuff for, like, the woodpeckers and that kind of stuff for habitat, but a lot of it's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, this spring, I was making so many trips to California because my wife had tons of stuff she wanted to get shipped up here to Idaho. And on the trips going down, loading up the truck, coming up, turning around the next day, going back again for a week, loading stuff up, the weeds around here got out of hand. And last summer, there was practically no weeds growing around anywhere. Because the year before I had the rototiller, I had rented a Bobcat rototiller, and I just decimated across the street, got it all rototilled up and everything else. And so last year, for some reason, there was nothing came up. I mean, there was some stuff maybe 6 inches high out there, but for the most part, this time all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's 3-4 feet tall. And so I had to unearth my brush hog and go out there, and I was brush hogging around the border of the property, around the house across the street, and several areas and stuff around the apple trees that my daughter and her husband have over there, because they were just the weeds were growing faster than the trees were.
Yeah. And
so I got a lot of it knocked down, and Friday was this Monday, I went and bought a rototiller to go on the back of my tractor.
Okay.
Because even after I did the brush hog and knocked everything down, there was still, this much of dry, dead stuff on top of the soil. And so I got a rototiller. Now I'm going to go get over there and just start tilling that into the soil. So there's definitely a fire break across the area out there. But
yeah. And that's just it. Is like, for us, creating a fire break is key to be able to, if the backwoods, we back onto property where they just use it for logging, and then it goes back another property, and then it goes back to hydro lines. So there's no one behind us. It's just pine forest. And there's a lot of that pine forest where it's dry, and it could, it's like tinder waiting to start. So for us to create those fire breaks is key. But on top of that too is, for a lot of us, is creating a homestead where it's green, it's moist. You're wanting to make sure you're growing stuff and creating something where your homestead is not dry. It is moist, it's shaded, it's green. So it's a lot harder for that to catch on fire to begin with.
Exactly. One of the things that on the property across the street, there is one area that's probably about 40 foot round that is greener than anything, and has sunflowers 8 feet tall on it, because that's where the pipeline for the ditch goes like this. And I got a 4-foot steel corrugated pipe going down as my pump station to pump out of. Well, corrugated steel doesn't have a watertight seal on it. So the water is leaching out into the soil around it and watering for about 40 feet out. It's all nice and lush and green. And so I got a green barrier around that. But I had to do the brush hog back into it so I could get in there to drop a hose in there to a pump if I needed to pump water out of it in case a fire gets out of control over there.
Yeah.
But one of the things interesting, years back, I'm hopping in the Wayback Machine back to the time, I think it was even before I got married. So this would be back in 1987. Some friends of mine from work at Mountain Cascade, we went deer hunting, and we went pre-deer hunting. We go out a month beforehand up into where the logging, because they changed logging roads around, and we take our topographical maps and we mark where the new roads are and see which way is the best way to get in up to the saddles and stuff where the deer migrate and stuff like that. And while we're on our way up there, fires had broken out. They didn't shut down the road, so we're going up there, we're watching stuff, And we actually saw some ashes come, cinder ashes come over and start things. So we stopped, popped out our shovels, and put out the small fire before it had a chance to go anywhere. It happened to drop right in front of us, and so we put that out. But then we noticed some farmlands off on the one side, and the farmer had some sprinklers set up around his pole barns, and all the cattle were around there, and they were getting wet from the sprinklers. And so he was watering an area around his pole barns to keep the grass wet coming up to his pole barns. And all the cattle were going, we're not stupid. We're going there where it's wet.
That's just it is, I've seen so many people and exactly, Courtney, keep it moist. So this year we've been lucky, like Tibor. I can't remember the last day we didn't have rain. I swear for the last 2 months we've had rain nonstop. So this year hasn't been bad for us at all. But around the rest of the province and out west, there's been a lot of forest fires, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I saw about a month ago on one of the live streams, somebody was mentioning, Canada's burning again. It's big fires up there. But the one thing I noticed from California, hang on a second here, let me escape that, drop that down, go to my email over here.
Yeah, if you like, people putting sprinkler systems up on their roofs and that sort of stuff is a huge help. But again, keeping the entire property green and wet and that sort of thing is so beneficial.
Yeah, having a plan. Don't just try to do stuff on a spur of the moment.
No, exactly.
Look into it ahead of time. There are companies that will come in and set up the sprinklers to wet your roof down properly. Around here, a lot of people have metal roofs.
That makes a huge difference.
Oh, that makes it absolutely huge for both, not only for fire, but for snow as well.
Yep.
All right, where was
the other beneficial thing is depending on what your house is built with, like the exterior, we have vinyl and asphalt roof. So it's vinyl siding with asphalt is just like the worst possible combination for a forest fire. Where if we had like a steel roof with brick, we'd be so much happier. But again, it's not always your choice what your house is built with when you buy it or when you have to budget to build it or renovate. So if you can find something that's like steel roofing with a brick exterior, you're in a lot better condition.
Or even, this house here has metal siding on it.
Okay. Yep.
So, and the one across the street also has metal siding on it as well. But I do have the asphalt shingles on it.
Okay.
But that's a lot better than the wood shingles. Now, in California, one of the things that's big, especially Southern California, is the terracotta tile roofs.
Yeah, and I noticed too in both British Columbia and California is they really like cedar shingles because there's a lot of cedar out there and they go cedar shingles, but it's like as soon as you have like one of those windstorms and a forest fire and those ashes and embers are just pounding on your house, it's going to go up.
Yeah. Okay, so the news article is from Wednesday, August 2nd. And the York fire in California is the largest blaze so far this year. It's one of 11 wildfires in California again. And it's over 90,000 acres.
Wow.
And it borders Nevada.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
that's crazy because to think about it, like when we thought about
our forest fire,
our forest fire last year behind our homestead only encompassed 8 acres before they put it out.
Yeah.
So to have like 90,000 acres go,
All right, here's the thing you got to understand. The area it was in is the Mojave Desert. Southern California is known for what's called the Santa Ana winds. They come in out of Nevada, across the desert, hit LA with 40-mile-an-hour winds for hours and hours and hours on end.
There's nothing slowing them down.
Nothing slowing it down. And if there's a fire in that area, it's like taking a hairdryer and blowing it on your campfire.
Right.
And it's just, it's amazing. Kaylin's talking about Laura at Hedgehog's Homestead. It has a metal roof, metal siding. The garage is going to be the same. And the same for their bird coop. Yeah, for the chicken coop. And but yeah, so that's charring more than 90,000 acres of the iconic Joshua trees.
Oh, geez.
And it was sending fire tornadoes shooting into the sky. So it was creating its own wind out there
too.
Yeah, they don't have any. I can't find any pictures of it.
Night, Courtney.
Yeah. Night, Courtney. Yeah, so 82,000 are in California. In Nevada's Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is in Clark County, is another 8,300 acres of that fire is in Nevada. And so it says hundreds of firefighters been fighting it. On Wednesday, it was 23% contained. That's probably on the downwind or on the upwind side where the wind's blowing from that, so they're able to block that, cut that off.
Right.
But I'll share this one here. This is from it there as well, and so this is the centered out of San Diego, and you're looking at 110, 108, 109, 109, 110. Yeah, it's hot out there. And all it takes is a spark, and that stuff is so dry, and it's gone, and it's just flames. And that's one of the things people don't realize how fast fire goes. It creates its own windstorm.
Yeah, it's crazy too. Looking at some of the different techniques they're using, I would say to try and prevent forest fires. So I know in California, one of the big things is to have the goats come in and chew the underbrush and eat the underbrush and get rid of that sort of stuff. But again, I kind of question whether that is as effective as going with kind of like a permaculture thought of even more mulch and that kind of stuff to try and retain some of the moisture. I'd love to see a different comparison between something where the goats take out all the underbrush, where people say this is a slow burn, versus something where it's permaculture and you mulch it and you get tons of shrubbery and different height growth bush going on, and you try and retain that moisture. What kind of difference there would be in the intensity of the forest fires that happen in those different areas?
What's interesting in the San Francisco Bay Area, one of the big mountains is called Mount Tamalpais. Now, the Indians back 200 years ago used to burn it off twice a year, every year. And so a lot of there was practically no manzanita bushes there. It was all grassland. And it was actually all meadows is what it was, because they burnt it off every year.
Right.
And it was just, there were some paintings and stuff from back when the Spanish first came in and screwed things up. And then we started screwing things up when we started putting out all the forest fires and stopping the Indians.
And that's the other thing.
The Indians from doing what they were doing for hundreds of years.
Are good.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, all the underbrush was burnt away was turned into ash.
Seeds?
Luscious grass everywhere up there in the meadows and stuff. Lots of wildlife. And they knew, oh, fire coming. Okay, we'd run around over here and we wait for the fire. And then we go back over there. And the Indians learned from nature how to control fires.
Right.
And of course, you know, us white men we're smarter than the Indians.
Put it out. Put it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all I know is that they're finally beginning to do burns every year in certain areas, and when they do have a wildfire come in there, it stops because the area's burnt. It's green, it's lush, and it's all, you know, taken care of. Hey, Lewis, how's it going? And so yeah, there's a lot of things we can learn from nature for fires and stuff. But if you're in suburbia like Steve, of course, there are trainers, some of those that are down in, you know, that are just, they're in their neighborhoods back up against, you know, the wilderness, you know, wildfire areas and stuff. Just because you're in suburbia doesn't mean your place isn't going to burn. Dang, I forgot to bring those pictures up. Everyone, you want to see some interesting pictures, Google Santa Rosa fire.
Oh, California
and
Alberta.
The city of Santa Rosa. They have pictures, and it shows blocks upon blocks upon blocks, whole neighborhoods burnt to the ground because the fire came in and it didn't start one house on fire. It started 10 houses on fire that were backed up, and when those started going, it just spread right on through. Exactly, Tibor. Also, back in the day, Yosemite did not have all those pine trees in it. The pine trees were not native to Yosemite. Oak trees is what they had there. And what helps oak trees grow? Fire. Fire's going underneath of it because they don't, you know, the oak trees are up so high, they don't get a lot of stuff. It pops the acorns open. Now, one of the channels I haven't seen her in tonight. I don't know if anybody else has seen her in. Wendy at Hardknack Farms in Oklahoma. She posts constantly on Facebook when they're under fire danger. Last year, I mean, it was constant. Here's the fire here. Da, da, da. When are they going to call a no burn? When are they going to do no burn? And they're allowing people to burn, and the fire danger was up in the 90 percentile or whatever. And yeah, so it's you need to plan ahead, figure out, okay, if a fire comes in, what direction is it coming from? Most likely, where's the prevailing winds from? Here where I'm at, the prevailing winds come from the southwest to south-southeast area. For me, what's in that area? The Idaho Supreme mashed potato factory, potato farmlands, the Snake River, the Indian Canal, the Blackfoot Canal, and the town of Firth.
And even then, a lot of the times, depending on what's happening and how intense those fires are, the winds change.
Yeah. And so, yeah, unfortunately, on the opposite end, where it usually comes from that direction, every now and then it flip-flops and comes from Yellowstone down this way. What's out there? 300 acres of potato land, all lush green, all irrigated. So, but yeah, it's, you know, also when you're planning for your fire response, don't have just one. Have several places you can go to, because you don't know where the fire is going to go. You may think, oh, we're going to go to Uncle Jack's, who's 10 miles away. Well, Uncle Jack may already have evacuated because the fire came through his place already.
Might be cut off.
Yeah, or he might be cut off. You can't get to there. He may be totally safe, but you can't get to his property. Yeah. So you may need to have several others, and you need to plan for a couple weeks stay, long camping trip. You also need to have all your important documents in a fireproof file box so you can grab it and go. All your insurance documents, deeds, pink slips for the vehicle, all that important stuff, medical insurance, life insurance, all that stuff. You need to have that so you can grab it and go.
Exactly, Kayla.
Yeah.
We're talking baked potatoes and popcorn.
Actually, funny speaking, yeah, it would, but things that right now, everything is so green right now because the potatoes aren't ready for harvest. And so all the fields are green. They're the irrigation is sprinkling is irrigating and sprinkling them, so it's all a nice green area. However, we have a lot of cottonwood trees around here along the irrigation ditches. That's another story. They may be all nice and green, but when the cotton tree gets going, whew, it's like a eucalyptus tree. It just goes.
And for us up north, the pine trees, for us, it's rained for like every day for the last 2 months, but you get a dry pine tree, they'll go up whether they're wet or not. It's just tinder waiting to go.
And especially if that pine tree has a lot of what's called fat wood in it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of sap in it when that stuff goes, man. And then that sappy fat wood, when it gets up to heat, it explodes like a grenade and throws burning embers all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things to consider for your fire response. Don't just think, okay, I'm thinking about this. I would
say for people is like,
write it down.
You can make sure your animals are halter trained. If you're able to catch your goats, if you're able to catch your cows, if you're able to catch your horses easily with a halter, so you're able to load them on a trailer, no problem, and get them out of that situation. The only other option you've got, if you don't, is you're opening gates or just letting them go and hoping they'll jump the fences. So.
Yeah, and if they're in a smoky area and they're right in front, and the animals can tell, all right, the wind's blowing this way here, and it's blowing smoke on me, so the fire's that way, so I'm running this way here, and that area gets smoky, they're not going to be able to see well.
No.
And if they won't be jumping fences, they'll be trying to plow through them.
Exactly.
And that there is just another one where I've seen pictures where animals have tried to go through barbed wire fences, couldn't see it, got tangled up in it, and then the fire caught them. So your animals, livestock, for those who are in urban, your cats, your dogs, your goldfish, your parrots, whatever pet you have, you got to be able to move. And the thing is, so you need to practice driving with your animals. Because if you never put an animal in the car, first time you put that animal in the car, it's freaking out. So you need to get them kennel trained, the containers to put them in the car. You need to do stuff like that.
Put a horse or cattle on a stock trailer, and it's the first time you've trailered, your truck and vehicle is going to be moving around because they will try to stabilize themselves and take steps. And you'll be like, whoa, what's going on? It's your animal moving around. So don't you worry. Just don't take corners fast. Don't drive too fast. Don't stop too fast. Just try and be as comfortable and consistent as you can when you're driving.
If you're on the freeway, I know like in California, 55 if you're towing something. Here in Idaho, whatever it's posted. So it's posted 80 miles an hour out here on I-15. It's all the trucks and everybody's doing 80 miles an hour. But you treat it like it's raining. Oh, I'm going to back that off to 70 or 65.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of traffic, you may back it off a little bit more and put on your flashers to let them know you're a slow-moving vehicle. Let's see. So if you're for evacuating, if you just got pets and stuff, make sure you're taking with you several weeks worth of food for the animals. Any medication the animals need. any chew toys or something that they are comfortable with. If they happen to have one of those little like dog beds or cat beds, just laying on the floor, that they always sleep in that. That's a comfort thing to keep them calm down. Take that with you as well. For yourself, you're going to need several changes of clothes. You're going to need your medications, everything you need. If you're like me, you need a CPAP machine. Got to make sure you have that with you.
If you're like us, where you have cattle, and you're taking your cattle for the first time, make sure you have ropes. Make sure you have gloves. Make sure you figure out ahead of time where you're taking your cows. So if you can tee up with people who are friends of yours, where you might have bought the cattle from, or who have cattle ranches, farms, homesteads, where they might have extra fields where you can go and put your cattle up for a week or 2 weeks. There's a lot of things you're going to need, especially water, hay. The biggest thing is being able to manage your cattle or horses or large animals. So if you get used to handling them, so roping them, putting a halter on them, leading them, trailering them, anything like that, the more you can do with that, the better.
Yeah. When back when I was in high school, we had a milk cow, and after we moved from northern Arizona back to California, my dad bred the cow, and we got another milk cow. So we had 2 milk cows. When we were training that milk cow from little, put a halter on it, lead it around, lead it over to the grain bin, lead it over to the alfalfa trough, and everything, and worked with it so that when it came time to bring it in to milk it, it was calm. Well, it was led around so much we actually put it on a trailer a couple times and took it over to a neighbor's place, because they wanted the cows over there to graze over there, and we just go over to milk over there. So the cows got trained to go in trailers here and there, and tell you, compared to the first time we put a halter on it till 2 years later, big difference. 2 years later, we just hold out the bucket of grain, shake it, hold up the clip. They'd come up there, we'd clip it on them, on the halter, clip it on, and just lead them away.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is if you're putting goats and chickens and rabbits and other small animals into a stock trailer, make sure they're in a cage too. They will freak out. They will get out of a stock trailer very easily.
Yeah.
So make sure they're in a contained section. So if you're putting an animal in a contained area, make sure that contained area has bars, cages, something small enough to contain it so it doesn't get out. So if you're putting like chickens in a stock trailer or goats in a stock trailer, make sure that the holes and any openings are not big enough for that animal to get out or stick their head out, especially like goats in the stock trailer. They'll stick their heads out and get trapped.
Yeah.
And
so stick their head out sideways, turn it, and then they try to pull straight back. And notice Tibor's been saying here, California planted thousands of eucalyptus trees. Years ago, was it 30 years ago now? The Oakland Hill fires. The biggest problem with that was all the eucalyptus trees up there. But then he was also saying, he goes, in Canada, fires are so big because of the pines, aspens, and birches. That sounds like Utah to me. Sounds like Oregon, Washington, Northern California, aspens, pines, birches.
Yeah, Kaylin, a lot of the modern stock trailers will have kind of a fiberglass covering over a lot of the openings. So you'll still get a bit of opening, but a lot of it will be kind of a window, plexiglass, fiberglass kind of thing. So.
And that's one of the things to do too, and when you're in your planning, is know what the fire fuels are in your area. It's if you're in a city, you're backed up against some of the wildlife areas and stuff. What are the woods there? What is like? Is it manzanitas? Is it pines? Is it aspens? Is it eucalyptus? Is it redwoods? Is it oaks? Whatever it is, find out what it is, and then find out how those particular plants burn, because some of them. You get some good pine trees in there. They're going, when they catch fire, they don't just put off ash and stuff. They blow cinders out when they pop. And so you need to figure out know what that is. Plan accordingly. Plan for where you need to go. Parts 1, 2, and 3. Oh, also have a communications plan. Of course, nowadays. Everybody has a cell phone that has should have all your relatives' numbers in it. But besides having your relative's cell phone number in it, find out if they still have a landline or a work number. Get their numbers, other numbers as well. Because if you're having to evacuate and they're at work and they're not allowed to use their cell phone at work, but they have a desk phone, you want that desk phone number to say, "Hey, we're coming up there. It's bad here. Is it okay to come?" So there are a lot of things you need. There are a lot of aspects to look at it for planning for, bugging out from a wildfire. Oh, other thing, if there's a wildfire even remotely mentioned in your area, make sure your vehicles are fully fueled. Because people are going to be bugging out, and it's like, oh, we got to get off and get gas.
Yeah, there'll be a lineup at the gas station instantly.
Oh yeah, miles long. Hours long.
Yeah. And
you won't have hours to get gas.
No.
That's one of the things that happened up there in
make sure you have water too.
Yes.
Because water and feed for your animals is a big thing.
Yeah. The up there for the Santa Rosa fire and the Fairfield fire up there in California, there were a lot of vehicles that ran out of gas in the 5 miles from their house. Because
that's insane.
Well, the thing is, it took them 30 minutes to go that 5 miles, and they ran out of gas because it was all backed up, and so they ran out of gas before they get out of the way. And when one car runs out of gas, now they're blocking everybody behind them.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just checking the side chat here. Yeah. Kaylin's talking about the different woods and stuff. And when the gas pumps are dry, you'll be up the creek without a boat or a paddle.
Yeah, exactly. In my truck, I actually have a couple of gas, like you call them jerry cans, or like off-road gas cans. So they're fit to the side of the truck bed, so I can fill them up if needed. And if I'm going into a situation where I know I'm going to need gas, I'll fill both of them up. And there's an extra, I think it's like 40 liters of gas right there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, years ago, when I used to have when I was working construction, I had a 1-ton Ford dually, and in the bed of the truck, I had two L-shaped 55-gallon tanks. One was full of gas, one was full of diesel.
Nice, yeah.
And I had pumps on both of them, so I could actually, the gas one was on the left side, so I could actually just stick it down into the gas tank and go.
Nice, yeah.
But there's I really, really miss the old metal jerry cans.
Yes. they don't warp the same as all the new stuff.
Oh,
so
the plastic ones, my plastic ones I have for both diesel and gas, if I filled it up when it was cold and it got hot this summer, they're all bulging about almost around like a basketball now.
Yeah, I've got, like I said, I've got my 2 that are long, narrow, that go on the outside of my truck bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I fill them up, and the problem is like in summer you fill them up and an hour later, 2 hours later, it's like they look like they're gonna bust off the side of the truck bed. It's like, if I could go back to the metal jerry cans and make some mounts inside the truck beds for those, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, one of the guys I went hunting with back when 34 years ago, James Bredehoff, had a one of the old Blazers, the ones that were built like a battle tank, big. Yeah. It was on a three-quarter ton frame, and so he had on the back. He had his those swinging things on the back. One had the tire on it. The other one had 2 jerry cans on it. And one of the other guys we went with had a Jeep, and and back then you could get the jerry cans that were already cut to go on Jeeps. So you had the fender well, and so the jerry can would come down and had a 45-degree cut on it. So it was 3.5 gallons, not 5 gallons, but it mounted there right up snug on the fenders. And so you had
didn't
stuff
expand at all. Yeah.
And it wasn't taking up room in the back. It was, it was mounted outside where, it was just, making use of space there that would have gone to waste anyways. All right. Tibor says, try Sportsman's Warehouse. Okay. Yeah, even over here at the military surplus place here, up here in Shelley, they have all plastic ones, the military plastic ones. Okay. It's like,
and they're still good. They're better than the ones you'd buy at, like up here, it's Canadian Tire and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, there are metal ones out there, but most of the metal ones you get nowadays have the fire safety thing on it. So it's like, yeah. I like the old fashioned jerry cans. That was a 2-inch pipe thread on it, and worked for the construction company. Those flexible nozzles on them, you screw on there. The boss said, get rid of them all. We took a 2-inch closed nipple, a 2-inch bell reducer went from 2-inch down to 3/4, and that fit, and it came up, had a 45 on it and another 6-inch pieces. Go to fill up a piece of equipment, just let it hang there. Problem. It would just dump. You could keep doing stuff, and you do like 2 or 3 of those on there, and you're done. But yeah. Oh, but you might hurt yourself. You might cause a fire with it. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Other things that people might need to think about when planning to deal with. If you have a swimming pool.
Yes. So we have 15-foot above ground round swimming pool, and we have our hot tub. So we have set aside one of our submersible pumps. That submersible pump is always ready to go to drop into both the hot tub or the swimming pool and be able to pump water out to wherever we need it.
Yeah. My sister back in the day lived down in San Ramon, California, up in the hills, and they had a swimming pool up there. And she was panicking about what were we going to do about fires and stuff. So what we did is we went up there. They had a 2-inch system for the circulation of their in-ground pool. Well, at the one point there, I cut the piece of pipe out, the PVC pipe out, put in 2 ball valves and a T, and then a ball valve on that T. So actually 3 ball valves. And we set it up. So had her go to Harbor Freight, pick up a 5 horsepower 2-inch pump, hooked it up to it. So when the time came, she just turned valves, and then it could pull straight out of the circulation system for the pool. So it's pulling from the bottom of the pool. Fire that up. Oh man.
That
she had a fire hose there. It was like,
nice. Or as Tibor said, if it really gets down to it, just grab the bag of marshmallows and get ready.
Oh yeah. It's the marshmallows, the graham crackers, the chocolate bars, and the hot dogs.
Bingo, exactly.
And your long prong thing. So
you want to make sure it's long, because if you have a short one and your hand starts getting hot, it's like you just kind of rush it. So you don't want to rush the roasting of either the marshmallow or the hot dog.
Yeah. Hang on, let me check something over here real quick. Okay. All righty. We're coming up on the hour mark here. So Monday here on Camppatton Family Compound, we're going to talk about garden watering problems. Tuesday on Gray Man Prepping, the topic is hitting it again because people are forgetting this. Store what you eat what you store. If you don't eat canned beets, don't store canned beets. If you don't eat Brussels sprouts, don't store Brussels sprouts. So we're going to be talking about ways that you can store it, rotating your food, making sure everything's done. So that's what it is on next Tuesday. Next Friday, I got to skip it because I'm on the road next Friday back to California. Get another load, and the staff sergeant's coming back with me. She'll be here for a week, and hopefully I'll have her on that week. So the following, on the 14th, on Monday, is going to be, we're going to talk about your spouse and prepping and gardening and, general planning around the homestead and everything else, taking what your spouse wants in mind. In 2 weeks on Tuesday, it's going to be don't just survive, thrive. Don't just plan to survive. So many preppers, I'm planning to survive. I'm not planning to survive. I'm planning to thrive.
I want to be freaking happy. That's why I built a hot tub into the back deck.
Yeah. I'm planning on thriving and making money during SHTF. And so, and then, of course, in 2 weeks from tonight, it's going to be bugs, good, bad, and the ugly.
That's why I got my still. You got to make money somehow, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like I've been collecting all the candles. My wife's been collecting all these wet candles, blocks of wax and stuff. And my son's collecting wax and stuff to make candles to sell at farmers markets. Nice. And once we get going here, when my wife says, all right, buy chickens, we're getting the chickens that lay the colored eggs, the Easter eggers.
Everyone wants colored eggs.
At the farmer's market, it's like they can sell those for 3 times what you can regular eggs.
Yeah.
So, hey, not just thriving. You're not just surviving or thriving. You're making money on it. But so that's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Also, if anybody has any ideas for topics for either this channel or Gray Man Prepping, down in the bottom of the description is the email for Camppatton Family. Actually, I can just throw it up here real quick. Let's see, banners down at the bottom here. There's the email, Camppatton Family Compound at Gmail. Just send me ideas. I've gotten several ideas from people. In fact, one of them is coming up here in a little bit. It's called fabrication at home. That's going to be a topic someone suggested we cover. So, all right. Thank you, Thor, for coming out here and helping me out. Sharing a lot of great information. If you're not subscribed to Thorhaven Farm, guys, somebody throw his link in the chat there. That way, I should have had that up there earlier. Kaylin or CR, somebody throw Thor's channel link up there.
Sierra's already grabbed something to eat.
Yeah. Don't use pine branches. They make bad taste. Oh, yeah, for the marshmallow roasting, yeah.
Yeah.
CR, memo to self, eat beforehand on Tuesday. Yes, we're going to be talking food on Tuesday.
Never remembers, though.
All righty. So, everyone, thanks for coming in. And, especially for tonight's topic is plan ahead. Don't just think you can go off the top of your head and come up with a plan. Write it down. And I froze. Yeah, so write it down, and we will
practice it.
Yeah, practice. Yeah, especially with animals. Even if it's just leading the animal around the corral, whatever. Get them used to your interaction with them more than just feeding them. Pet them, curry comb, whatever. Even if it's a cow out there, your cows still love to be curry combed.
Oh, they love it.
They love it.
Tie them up to a tree. Make sure they're able to stand there. Tie them up to a trailer. Tie them up to a truck. Tie them up to a tractor. Make sure they stand there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll see you around, and see you on Monday, hopefully. And we're out of here.